Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Full Court Podcast with your host, Orazio. As you understood in the last few episodes, we're trying to do a full trip around Europe to talk about the most interesting topics around the European basketball. We've been to Germany, we've been to Italy, and in this brand new episode of Full Court Podcast, we're going to go to Spain to talk about the Euroleague Spanish teams, and we're also gonna analyze a little bit the current situation of the Euroleague with the position of Jordi Bertomeu. And to do all these things, I have as a guest for this episode one of my colleagues at basketnews.com, Miguel Lois Vidal. Miguel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome.
Hi, Orazio. Welcome. The pleasure is mine.
Thank you for being here, Miguel. As I said, with Miguel, we're going to talk about the Spanish clubs in Euroleague, but I believe it's important to start with the whole Jordi Bertomeu situation and the current status of the Euroleague. As you probably have heard in the last few days, the 11 Euroleague teams with a multi-year license, they decided to vote against Jordi Bertomeu. So starting from next season, Jordi Bertomeu will no longer be the CEO of the competition. It was a very split vote because 5 teams voted in favor of Jordi Bertomeu staying. The Spanish clubs, so Real Madrid, Barcelona and Baskonia, and the Turkish clubs, Fenerbahce and Efes, they all voted in favor of Jordi Bertomeu, while the Greek teams, Olympiacos and Panathinaikos, Olympia Milan, Maccabi Tel Aviv, and Zalgiris Kaunas, they decided to vote against Jordi Bertomeu. They were the majority, so in the end they won, but of course it was kind of a split decision. So I wanted to ask you, Miguel, what's your opinion about what happened in the last few days, and what do you think is going to happen in the upcoming future of the EuroLeague?
Well, first of all, it's something I think we have been heard this in the last months. So I would say it's not a surprise to see that 6 clubs vote against Jordi Bertomeu. So I'm not sure to admit or to agree that something is going to change in the future, because the competition format system is clear enough. I think it's good enough. Maybe we can talk about some more licenses or whatever you want to talk, but I would say this is the best competition apart from the NBA in terms of basketball, at least in my opinion. So I'm not saying Jordi Bertomeu did well or did wrong. I just say the competition is what it is, and I think he has led EuroLeague in the last years. So for sure he has done bad things, but overall I would say he has been a good CEO of the competition. Then there's another thing to talk about, the contract with IMG. If I'm not wrong, it was 10 years contract until 2026. So that's the main point for me about this. What can change without Bertomeu, and which is the real power of the clubs? Because, I mean, the clubs who had license IA, which are the Turkish, the Greek, the Spanish, Maccabi, CSKA, they have the power already. So what can change without Bertomeu? That's my question. So let's see what happens. Let's see if that movement that the NBA did in the last weeks with FIBA has something to has some continuity. But I'm not sure to make a clear statement of what can happen without Jordi Bertomeu and leading the EuroLeague.
Yeah. And as you said, of course, this move was kind of expected because he was in the air for a while now. But now, of course, the most important thing will be to see who's going to be the replacement of Jordi Bertomeu.
Exactly.
Because if all the teams want to give a new direction to the competition, they definitely going to need a brand new guide, someone who can lead the competition into a new phase. And, so far from the names that have been going around a little bit in the media, it doesn't look like a fresh new start, because basically the two hot names that have been out there are two GMs of Euroleague clubs, Marko Pesic of Bayern Munich and Motejūnas of Žalgiris Kaunas.
Yeah.
So personally, I don't believe that one of these two guys can change really the situation of the competition. I believe that you're going to need a manager with a different kind of view and opinion about the future of the competition. I don't know what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Orazio. You've told two guys who for sure they are well prepared for a position like this. I totally agree with you. But they represent two clubs, Bayern and Žalgiris. So it can be a little bit strange, because a lot of people or teams said that Jordi Bertomeu were a little bit in favor of the Spanish teams.
Yeah.
So if you put a guy who is currently in Munich or in Kaunas, it would be a little bit weird, no, to understand or to justify that decision. For me, I think it must be a person with open mind person who understand this model of the basketball, who thinks worldwide, not just in Europe. Because we are in a globalized world, so I think it must be a person smart for sure, with good networking in terms of basketball and politics and all that stuff. But I can tell you a name. I think it's so difficult. The thing is, we need to be realistic about European basketball. We are not the NBA. We don't generate as much money as the NBA do. This is the truth. I mean, teams like Barca or Madrid are a basketball team inside a football club team. So the budget is increased just because of that. Česka has a lot of money because of Betutin. So at the end, it's really difficult to generate as much money as in the NBA do, because of the TV rights, sponsorship, and all that kind of things. So I think it's really difficult. It's not you cannot just write a tweet in 1 minute to solve all the problems of European basketball. That's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on, of course, to analyze a little bit the moment of the Spanish teams in Euroleague, starting, of course, from Barcelona, who's currently at the top of the competition with 6 wins and just 1 losses in Euroleague. Of course, their start of the season has been really, really good. Barcelona is also still unbeaten in the ACB. Nikola Mirotic has been impressive, really probably as of right now the number 1 candidate for the MVP title at the end of the season. And Barcelona this week is gonna face Olimpia Milan in a rematch of that Final Four game in Cologne, which was really, really close. And it's going to be probably one of the most anticipated game in this initial phase of the EuroLeague. And I wanted to ask you, Miguel, what do you think has been the key for Barcelona in this great start of the season?
Well, this is an interesting question. First of all, because Barca has won 2 or 3 games, really tight games.
Yeah.
And last year, Barca struggled a little bit in that kind of games. So this year has improved a little bit, at least in that short beginning of the season. I mean, for example, the win against Olympiacos, it's a really character victory from Barca. And, for me, the key is to keep the core of the team. Nikola Mirotic, Brandon Davis, Corey Higgins, Calates, at least four of the best players in each position, in Euroleague. So for me, this is very important. Then I think Nigel Hayes-Davis has done a great job in this first month of the season. Really good adaptation. I think he has given Sharas the opportunity to have a forward to play in the low post, because Adam Hanga was not used to play like this, and I think Sharas like that kind of players. I remember Ulanovas in Kaunas who played similar, more or less like Nigel Hayes. Then Roka Jokubaitis started a little bit in the ECB league without playing, or just a few minutes. Then he has coming up to the roster, and he has showed his level. For me, physically is a monster. I compare him with Leandro Bolmaro because the Argentinian Wild was last year in Barcelona. Physically, I think they are pretty similar. For me, Roka Jokubaitis has more basketball IQ since he has been playing basketball since he was a child, while Bolmaro started at 14, 13 years old. So it makes a difference. Now I would say I don't know what's going to happen with Shertak Shanley, who has a lot of problems with injuries and just play, I think, 3 or 4 games in a row so far. So new guy in a really different philosophy from Efes, where he has the opportunity to play with Larkin and Misic, who makes your life easier. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here you have Kalaitis, which is like Larkin and Misic, but a little bit different in the 1-versus-1. No? But I think Barca has shown more character in the beginning of the season than last year. For me, this is basic. And the only loss against Maccabi last week, I think it was for me. Sharas was good in the press conference after the game when he said we gave them confidence, and that's true. In Tel Aviv you can allow Maccabi to score 31 points in the first quarter because they will receive all the warmth from the stands, all the atmosphere, people jumping in the arena. So for me, that was the key in that game. Barca played a really good second half, at least more equal. They had, I think it was 2 or 3 attacks where they could cut the difference to under 10 points, but they missed a 3-point shot. I think it was Mirotic. So, for me, Barca is doing a great job so far. Game against Milano it's going to be really, really outstanding because, Barca, I think, last year won the 3 games against Milano in the semi-final and the 2 of the regular season. I remember perfectly the game in Mediolanum Forum where Barca was defensively was a machine. I remember Victor Claver in one defense that Saras really celebrate a lot. So I think Barca this year is for sure again a really good defensive team, but also offensively I think they know more the Saras systems. They know each other, the coach, the players. I think Sharas is also a little bit more calm in the court. I think he knows how to deal a little bit more with the players because also he started his era in Barcelona with 2 titles and just 5 points away of winning the 3 titles in the Euroleague. So come on, it's something the perfect season for Barca. And this beginning is interesting because Barca lost in the Supercopa against Madrid after a 19-point advantage in the final. So, it was a little bit tough because, come on, it's a Super Cup. Don't worry, just the first title. It's per season, but you lost against Madrid and when you were winning by 19 points. So that was a little bit weird, but 8-0 in the ACB, 6-1 in Euroleague. Really, really difficult to improve that.
Yeah, absolutely. The start has been really impressive, but of course, when it comes also to Barcelona, there is a little bit of concern because of the general situation inside the clubs, especially with from the financial standpoint. Of course, we all know that there is a huge debt situation. I believe there were reports that were talking about more than 1 billion in complex. And I wanted to ask you, do you believe that inside the basketball section of the team, there is a little bit the fear that, I don't know, maybe at the end of the season, because of the financial situation, they might lose some of their key pieces, some of their key elements?
If you would have asked me this question 4 months ago, I would tell you definitely yes.
Yeah.
But when this summer you were able to sign a new contract with Corey Higgins, keep Nikola Mirotic. I think Brandon Davis is really happy here in Barcelona, and Nikola has contract. If you achieve this and you were able to, for sure, Adam Hang and Victor Claver couldn't continue, but you add Nigel Hayes, Roka Jokubaitic, Serta Chanley, you still one of the best centers in EuroLeague to the champion. Come on, you are not as bad as we may think. For sure, in the club there was a big financial problem. I think it still do. But in the section, the budget, I think it's pretty. I would say now, like a stability. I don't know how to say that. I think I'm not. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a financial expert, but I would say there's no risk in the short term.
Okay, and that, of course, I think it will give some tranquility, especially to the Barcelona fans, because, of course, there were so many, of course, reports and rumors about the debt situation inside the club. Now let's try to move on from Barcelona, and let's talk a little bit about the one of the other top team in the EuroLeague, Real Madrid. Of course, even for Real Madrid, there's been a positive start of the season. So far, they lost only one game in the ACB, 2 games in EuroLeague. The new addition are producing at a good level, especially Yabusele has been very, very positive for the team. They have Real Madrid this season has a very strong French connection inside the club with Yabusele, Poirier, Coser, Hortel, that they are a very strong group because of that. Of course, there are still some adjustments to make, but it's normal in such a long season. Real Madrid is also still kind of waiting on the situation of JC Carroll, because they will still love to have him around also this season, but Carroll is still in the United States with his family. Still unclear when and if he will rejoin Real Madrid. But of course, I wanted to ask you, Miguel, what's your opinion about this beginning of the season for Real Madrid?
Yeah, as you said, Orazio, just one loss in the ACB. It was against Gran Canaria, which made a really good second half. And then in the EuroLeague, just 2 losses. One in Piraeus against Olympiacos. I think Madrid finished the game with I don't know, 20% of 3-point shot or something like this. So you cannot win on the road in the EuroLeague with that percentage, and they lost just by 6 points, I think. So then in Kazan, I think it was a game decided by Madrid was a little bit tired, I would say. It's not an excuse. I think it's something common in the EuroLeague when you play the double round week on the road. It's really hard to play 80 minutes of great basketball. It's really difficult. And at the end, Madrid was dominating the game against Onyx, and everyone sees the 2 losses, the 2 turnovers, from Thomas Hertel, which I think he was tired. I mean, there was not two turnovers because of he tried to risk a little bit the assist. No, it's just because he was tired mentally. He was not clear on his ideas, and that was the problem for me. Madrid, for me, Yabusele probably is the best addition so far in terms of his impact on his team. I mean, I always do like a joke that Paulo Lasso is starting to learn French because, as you said, Coser, Hertel, Poirier, Yabusele. So a lot of French guys in Madrid. I think Yabusele is a really great addition for Real Madrid. I hope he could stay the whole season in Europe, and we will not repeat the episode like Campazzo and Gabi Deck, who left Madrid in the middle of the season. And then Madrid, there's another point to talk about. They have two new point guards, Hertel and Williams Goss. Williams Goss now is injured. For me, this is the one of the most important positions. Actually, Paulo Lasso had always, during his decade at Madrid, has the best point guards in Europe. Sergio Llull, Sergio Rodriguez, Luka Doncic, I don't know, Dante Draper, Facu Campazzo. So, Ertel and Williams Goss need to find his room on the team, his role. Williams Goss is playing. I think he has done a step up on his career, moving to Madrid this summer. And Ertel, we know him. I mean, it's a really good player, really talented. For me, probably the most talented player of Real Madrid. The thing is that he can lose some games, as we saw in Kazan, but 48 hours ago he won in St. Petersburg. He was the key man of the game. So. This is important to see how the point guards can how can I say I don't know the name now in English. How can fit together?
Yeah.
How can fit together in the team? Because then Carlos Alocen, for me, he's a really good prospect. He reminds me a little bit Sergio Rodriguez in terms of quality. I don't want to compare him because it's not easy to compare with Chacho, but Alocen, I think it's quite good. And then Juan Núñez, we saw him just 3-4 minutes. I know him a little bit from youth categories, and it's a special guy. I don't know if he will be a superstar in Europe, but I think he's special. And he has the ability to not be impressed by the atmosphere or by the context where he is. No, so and then Tavares and Poirier are for me the best duo in Europe. Poirier, I think, is better in offense, and Tavares, come on, when he's on the court, you can be near the rim. If not, you can be blocked. Your shot would be rejected or something like this. Even I think he is even one of the best players in terms of deflections. Tavares has improved a lot his ability to pass from the short roll. So he has improved a lot since he arrived to Madrid. And then the other things to finish is how Trey Tompkins and Anthony Randolph will come back from his injuries. Because long injuries.
Sure.
Trey Tompkins used to need a little bit time to recover physically, and Anthony Randolph, come on, 9 months out with more than 30 years old. It's not easy. But both are two extraordinary players. So if they come back healthy, Madrid will improve even more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if both Tompkins and Randolph will be in decent condition, I mean, the depth of this team will be absolutely unbelievable. Of course, as we said so far, things are going pretty well for Barcelona and Real Madrid, but unfortunately, not all the Spanish teams are doing so well because, of course, the beginning of the season for Baskonia has been very difficult. So far, they are 3 wins and 5 losses in the ACB. They are 3 wins and 4 losses in Euroleague. And the numbers, especially in Euroleague, have been very, very bad. As of right now, Baskonia has the 3rd worst offense in Euroleague with just 68 points per game. The 2nd worst team in Euroleague when it comes to true shooting percentage with just 42%. And the 2nd worst team in Euroleague with 3-point shooting with just 28%. Offense has been very, very bad, but even defensively, the team doesn't look in a good position. As of right now, most of the new addition have been struggling to find their role, to find their rhythm. Wade Baldwin, of course, Wade Baldwin has also been dealing with some familiar stuff because he just had a baby with his fiance. Fontecchio has been having ups and downs in the start of the season. The front court hasn't looked very good so far, even with the new guys. There have been, of course, also injury issues because now Alec Peters has just gone under surgery and he will miss several times. So it has been pretty difficult for Baskonia so far. There are already some rumors about the possibility of Coach Ivanovic being on the hot seat, so potentially being replaced. They already made some new addition with the newcomer, with Peters, who's probably going to help a little bit in the backcourt. But there are also rumors about the possibility of having other newcomers, other new additions. So for you, Miguel, so far, what has been the major issue for Baskonia?
Well, I think you have explained a little bit some of the problems of Baskonia in this season. You said about the newcomer Peters. I suppose Baskonia will find in the market some player to replace Alec Peters, who will be, I think, more than a month out. So it's a lot with this schedule. Baskonia has changed a lot in the front court without Fall, without Jekiri, without Paul Onara, which was really, really, really important last year next to Beria Henry. So first of all, I would say Baskonia need time. That's something I have really clear. Then they have some injuries in the beginning, the problems with Baldwin, some familiar issues for sure. The up and downs of Fontecchio, as you said. Fontecchio played pretty good games when Baskonia has won in Euroleague, but then it's like he disappears. And Giedraitis cannot play more than 30 minutes per game. You know, there's something Ivanovic style, putting his player more than 25 minutes. In the modern basketball, this is not possible. Personally, I'm the first one who would like to watch Larkin, Giedraitis, Tavares, Mirotic, and Mike James playing more than 30 minutes per game. But now, with this schedule, it's impossible. Well, you can try it, but then in February, March, don't cry if they are injured.
Yeah.
So you know, I think Ivanovic has this mentality, who has bring him a lot of achievements in his career. I think Baskonia has built a really good team in terms of numbers. It's true that Enoch and Noko and Costello, for me, let's see in the following months how the team is, the chemistry. If some results are better, maybe the team will increase a little bit their performances. But the truth is that they need to play better together. You know, in the two of the 4 losses, I think Baskonia did not arrive to 60 points, which is uncommon in European basketball. They suffered a lot against Baskonia. They won in Berlin, which is not always an easy place, if not talk with Fenerbahce. And they won Monaco, which is one of their probably rivals to be in the top 8 of the EuroLeague. For me, this is a realistic goal for Baskonia to be among the 8 best teams in the EuroLeague. They have Wade Baldwin, probably one of the best players in last season. Fontecchio for me is one of the let's say young players, or even he's just 25, 26 years old, but come on, he's young. Giedraitis, he was under the NBA radar, and he was still here in Spain. Baskonia has interesting players. Some of them could play for sure in players candidates to the title of the EuroLeague. So I don't know if Dusko Ivanovic is the best person to lead this team. For me, Ivanovic is an excellent coach in short tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
But in long tournaments or in long seasons, I think he has a mentality that I wouldn't say it's a wrong mentality, but probably he uses Giedraitis 30 minutes because he has not a good replacement for him. Maybe his roster is not as deeper as Madrid or Barca's one. Baskonia has 8-9 players of really quite good level, but then for me, Sedekerskis has done the step up that everyone asked him, but then Artur Skuruks, Rayeste, maybe are not in that level, in EuroLeague level. So if you don't put them in the ACB League just to play minutes, just to grow up, then in EuroLeague you can be ready, I think, physically to face the best teams in Europe. So it's a strange situation in Baskonia this year, because I think they have better players than last year in terms of quality, but their roster, I think, it's not as deep as previous year. So it makes a difference now. You need at least 11, 12 players who can actively play in a game, because it's really difficult.
Yeah, I agree with you that if Coach Ivanovic wants to fix a little bit the situation, he has to be a little bit more flexible with his handling of the minutes and the rotation, because if he keeps this kind of rhythms, it is going to be very, very difficult. And in this roster, there are also several young players that they need probably a different mentality to become even better. So we will see if the management will decide to still give time to Coach Ivanovic, or if they will decide to move on in another direction. As we already seen in the EuroLeague this season, there has been already a change in the coach with Zalgiris Kaunas, with Coach Schiller, who was fired just after the second game. We will see if Baskonia will decide to wait a little bit more, or if they will decide, especially if another defeat will arrive in the next EuroLeague game, if they will decide that the best solution is moving in another direction. Yeah, so for this brand new episode of Full Court Podcast, we arrived at the end. I really want to thank Miguel for being here and for his views. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miguel.
Thank you so much, Orazio. Hope it was interesting to the people, and let's see what happens in the next weeks.
Yeah, we will definitely keep watching the continuation of the season. So for this episode of Full Court Podcast is everything, from your host, Orazio Kauki, is also everything. And remember to follow basketnews.com, where you will find a lot of very interesting contents. And we will see you very soon.